So the first story that I want to talk about today, if I can find it in here, is about an Australian company called Laura Jane. So they were fined for implying that their new clothing line has antivirus fabric and it will protect people against COVID-19. So this is interesting. They're Australian. They were fined by the Australian Therapeutic Goods Administration for 40,000 US dollars, which is just shy of 28,000 US dollars. So I thought this was interesting. So is it a complete lie? I don't think so, to be completely honest. What is interesting is that Laura Jane suggested that they had spent the last 2 years developing this chemical-free treatment that, when applied to activewear, protects wearers against viruses and bacteria. The website claims that LJ Shield keeps you protected from viruses and germs. LJ Shield breaks through the membrane shell of any toxic diseases, bacteria, or germs that will come into contact with it, not only killing that microbe, but preventing it from multiplying into any more. Any bacteria that comes into contact with the fabric is terminated when it comes in touch with the LJ Shield particles. So this is directly, this is from ABC, so the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. They did an investigation into this, but this image is directly pulled off of the Laura Jane website. We can see their logo up here in the top corner. So antivirus activewear from Laura Jane Shield, or the LJ Shield. LJ Shield is here to protect you. Odor-causing bacteria, mold, and infectious diseases like COVID-19 can remain on hard surfaces for up to 96 hours, but with our new fabric treatment, LJ Shield, they cannot be transferred to your activewear. So what they're saying is not that the virus can survive on your clothing, but instead that it's going to be transferred to your clothing from hard surfaces like the weights at the gym. So the virus can stay on metal for up to 72 hours, glass for 96, and then it's going to be transferred onto your activewear. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. If you're like rolling around on things, I know lots of people who share yoga mats at the gym and are not the best at wiping them down before they use them. So I can totally see that. Awesome, I'm on board. Great idea. They say it's safe, sustainable, and permanent. LJ Shield is applied with a non-toxic water-based mist. The LJ Shield particles permanently adhere to the fabric. Viruses and bacteria that come into contact with these particles have their outer shields pierced, and they die. Ooh, that sounds really tragic. So this is what we're going to start seeing on Laura Jane on products starting July 2020. So then I was like, wait, what? Antibacterial fabric? This seems space age. Possible, but I don't know. So let's dive a little bit deeper. I checked out this website for a product called Priotex. It's a bioprotector. So inherent antimicrobial and antiviral fabrics containing with antimicrobial and antiviral agents that kill bacteria, fungus, and viruses responsible for infections, staining, and degradation of textiles. So first off, I'm a big critical thinker, so let's look at the text on here and see that they are missing commas. So grammatically, it's incorrect because bacteria funguses are not a thing. Bacteria and funguses are two different things, so there should be a comma in between that. And then I'm just nitpicky and would also want a comma after funguses, before, and viruses. But that's just me. So skepticism alert is kind of starting to go off here. But let's dive deeper. Maybe they're scientists, they're really good at the science, and they're not so good at the copywriting. Totally makes sense. Priotex Bioprotector is the brand's reaction to the dramatic increase in infections in hospitals by MRSA. Tiny silver ions in the textile fiber do not leave any chance of pathogens. Should bacteria encounter the textile fibers, their cell physiology will be disturbed. Okay, so we're figuring out that it's not this crazy scientific discovery, it's actually just silver particles, because silver interferes with, or possibly interferes with viruses, bacteria, and funguses, according to this site. So we'll dive a little deeper in a second. So the technology. Nanotechnology contains finest form of silver incorporated in the fiber during manufacturing. The silver ions kill microbes and viruses on the textile surface by destroying the cell wall of the bacteria. Silver embedded in the yarn releases stuff. Okay, so again, skepticism alert is going off because we have a weird we have lots of missing periods and punctuation, which we've already talked about in the last paragraph, so let's add something new. Here, we have strange capitalizations of words that don't need to be capitalized. And let's do a quick Google on what this word is supposed to mean. All right, so this word only exists on the Priotext website. So there's some jargon that's just there to make us feel better. So the advantage is microbes are microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, algae, and viruses are harmful because they lead to infections, degradation of textiles. So we're talking here not only about the function of the fabric itself in which this is applied to, but we're also talking about getting us sick. So that's cool. Effectiveness is scientifically proven. The microbial count on the fabrics is reduced by more than 99% compared to textiles without added functions. Even after 100 wash cycles, the antimicrobial activity remains unchanged. Interesting, but again, my alerts are going off. So let's see, we're also doing flame retardants, designed for curtains, privacy curtains, blankets. So this is a product that is being applied for the most part to like the curtains you would see at a hospital, like the privacy curtains you would have, because otherwise you can't really give people privacy in the hospitals without having that kind of a barrier, because otherwise it would just be drenched in sickness from people and in infections and stuff. So cool. So this is a company from Israel, and they have the direct phone number here for Mr. Ran Niran, who is responsible for selling it. So I'm rather skeptical, but I'm also intrigued because this could be really cool. This could be a really neat step in the right direction, and maybe Laura Jane is starting to use this type of technology, but they're really not 100% sure of the science, so their marketing department starts to jump on the COVID bandwagon. See how that works? Where it's partially true, but when it hits a different department who's not full of the science, they might get a little bit confused. It's kind of like broken telephone. As that message continues to go further and further in the on its journey through our ears, we can sometimes get misunderstanding of some of those facts. But let's actually talk about these nano silver particles and whether or not they work. So this is the website of the U.S. National Library of Medicine from the National Institutes of Health. This would be the American kind of big health agencies. This is where everyone in the States would be looking, all of the doctors and medical professionals would be looking for the latest scientific information. So this is not very latest. This is a study that was done, or a paper that was published in October of 2011, stating the title is Silver Nanoparticles as Potential Antiviral Agents. So we have seen for the last at least 9 years that scientists have been looking in to the use of silver nanoparticles when it comes to viruses and antiviral agents. So Laura Jane is not completely off their rocker at this point. So the abstract for this paper reads that virus infections pose significant global health challenges, especially in view of the fact that In fact, that the emergence of resistant viral strains and the adverse side effects associated with prolonged use continue to slow down the application of effective antiviral therapies. Whoo! All right, that's a topic we can dive into another day. But the idea that we're overusing antivirals and antibacterial agents, and we're actually creating more superbugs. So this use of silver nanoparticles is being developed as a way to get around that. It's a different method of attack, so that the viruses and bacterial have to kind of evolve in a different way. So maybe this could be great. Maybe this is the secondary attack that we need, that's going to help stop these viruses and bacterias evolving and becoming superbugs and becoming resistant to our current treatments. Maybe that's what it's going to be, or maybe it's just going to make it even more difficult. So when these viruses and bacteria start to evolve, they evolve in a more difficult way. Who knows? Who knows? All right, so that's it for our story about Laura Jane. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts are. I'm curious. It definitely is not what I was expecting the headline to give us.